Welcome to the 14th episode of Satanic Views. Here I am, videotaping Not So Alive on the set of the movie Gravedigger, which is one of two different horror videos that I've been involved in, which would help explain why there's been a delay since we made Satanic Views number 13 several months ago. Yes, all the creative cast members of Satanic Views are involved in additional projects, and so Satanic Views will always have an irregular schedule. Anyway, like I said, in recent months I've taken part in two different horror films, the other of which was tentatively called 12:37 p.m. of the Living Dead.
But unfortunately, that no-budget zombie video will never see the light of day.
The project was canceled because I was dealing with flaky collaborators and was anticipating help from Arizona State University's not-so-prestigious film department. It seems whatever film teacher at the college is more interested in artsy-fartsy crap and experimental imagery than good, honest action, adventure, entertainment, and stories with a beginning, middle, and end. So the unreliable folks at the school are all talk and backed out of the project.
Though that zombie cheapie will never be complete, this here movie, Gravedigger, might be coming to a video store near you, and Satanic Views is back in force.
So now we switch to another segment of Christian retaliation, where narrow-minded Jesus freaks attack us and send us hate mail and insults simply because we dare to have opinions that differ from their own.
Some grammar and spelling challenge person called Calabungoa writes, faggots with an apostrophe and one G.
Reader Mike Jones writes, 4 homos in all caps and the last O is a 0.
Meister Meist writes, you're a faggot.
Boy, that's 3 or 4 grammar-impaired pricks calling me a homosexual. All this time I didn't know I was gay. Not only that, but I think I make a really lousy homo. I mean, I find oral sex and anal sex to be disgusting acts that I personally will never take part in. It's only penis and vaginal sex for me. So I must be the world's worst homosexual. I mean, I've shaken the sheets with countless females since the 1980s, and I never touched a male sexually in my life. So I'm a total failure when it comes to my homosexuality.
But even if I were queer, those intolerant name-callers never explained why it's so bad to be gay. I say live and let live, and what two consenting adults do in the privacy of their own bedroom is not the business of homophobic bigots who can't type. Alright, for this edition of Iguana vs. Dog, it's a bright sunny day over by the pool, but he's heading over to start trouble with the dog again. I don't want them to fight, but if it's going to happen, I want this to work itself out so that they'll establish their hierarchy. Oh, here we go. He hasn't given up yet. He still wants to stalk that dog. And it's another tie.
For this edition of Tales from the Critics, several of us will review the rarely seen Anton-Lavey documentary, Speak of the Devil.
Sort of thing, because, again, the question, why, certainly isn't very satanic to want to take anything against its will. I love animals. I've always
there's a lot of interesting commentary on Satanism, debunking many of the conventional misconceptions, equating Satanism with Darwinism, rebellion against authority. But there's far too much of the film just a close-up of Anton-Lavey talking about people and events I'd never even heard of. For spending way too much time playing hurly-gurly music, I give it like a 5 out of 10.
Hurly-gurly? I kind of like the organ music myself, but I felt that the crude editing and poor sound quality were about all analog video had to offer back in 1992, but otherwise I love this low-budget Nick Bo-Ugas directorial. I personally related to a lot of Anton-Lavey's upbringing on many levels, from the humor to the exotic pets, to to being inspired by heroes like the Lone Ranger.
The superheroes like the Green Hornet, Batman, the Lone Ranger had a very strong influence on it, and I might add a very satanic influence on it.
It started out interesting enough with candid on-the-street interviews, some history and old scenes of LaVey with hair on a children's television show, no less. But later, the stock footage from black and white silent movies got a bit tedious.
Beginnings of my interest in the arcane, or the satanic, the magical lore, the emphasis on knowledge.
I love the movie. I love the fact that LaVey talked about stuff in his personal life and gave the personal touch. I felt the historical references he gave needed to be elaborated on.
Gyro stabilizers, that sort of thing. And in it, it was almost as though one could purchase, if you had the money, these vessels, warships that you could start.
I myself thought that they showed too much of his toys and his animals, and some of the music he could have done without. He should have edited a little bit slower or less, and maybe if I wanted to hear something from him, I would have just bought his albums or his composition.
And so we each gave this documentary a different rating between 1 and 10.
3.
4.
5.
7.
9.5.
Coming up next on Satanic Views, another edition of our environmental travelogue, Ecomaniacs.
On this edition of Ecomaniacs, we go on a cruise where I accidentally assembled my underwater housing wrong, and I destroyed about $1,000 worth of video equipment, and so I was very depressed during this Mexican cruise, and I drank a lot and ate a lot, and the result is this edition of Ecomaniacs, which we call Mazatlan Nausea.
I think it's probably the 4th day of this Caribbean cruise trip. It's been fun. We did some diving and snorkeling and swimming. Unfortunately, during this trip, there's been a lot of problems, too. I destroyed about $2,000 worth of video equipment. That's why there's not more underwater footage, because my own negligence caused some problems, which destroyed a whole video camera. There were other problems. Being a cruise and a ship, we're supposed to relax and eat hearty and indulge, and I did that, and I am nauseous. I feel miserable right now. I'm sick, and so I think I'm going to have to induce vomiting so that I feel better. The following footage you're about to see is going to be pretty disgusting, but I guarantee you it's not been faked. I'm really going to induce vomiting just so I can feel better and get some sleep tonight. You may not want to watch this next footage if Technicolor yawns offend or disgust you.